Hello, Piccadilly Knight here with another pickups video. Now, as you'll know if you've seen these before, I like to spend the first couple of minutes of it just doing some general channel housekeeping. So, if you're not interested in that and what might be going on at the moment and what might possibly be going on in the future, then you can skip to this point in the video and that will take you directly to where the pickups begin. So first of all, I want to apologise for anyone that's waiting for more PlayStation 3 reviews and more of the Collect Emulator Void series. I simply haven't had the time to get around to doing them, and I am sorry about that because I have a stack of PlayStation 3 games like that from the beginning of the PlayStation 3 era sitting waiting to be reviewed, and I just simply haven't got around to doing them. Haven't had the time. So they will happen, just whether they happen this side of Christmas or not is debatable. Likelihood is not, I'm afraid, because there's kind of a lot going on. I won't bore you with the details, but trust me, it's been a time issue more than anything else. The other thing I want to address is the frequency with which I've put content out. Now, I was doing 2 videos a week. Sometimes, especially when I was doing the No Man's Sky playthrough stuff, I was doing maybe 3 or 4 videos a week. This has obviously cut down somewhat in the last few weeks. And again, that's down to time constraints and nothing else. It's not because I'm not doing anything. It's because I basically haven't had the time to do anything. But aside from that, aside from my personal time issues, what else is going on? Well, I was very, very surprised to the response I got from the N64 mini video. That absolutely amazed me, how much people were just seemed to be up in arms about the whole thing. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but suffice it to say, it surprised me. It didn't only surprise me with the amount of views it got, but also the amount of negativity that it seemed to generate. I'm not really sure why that is, but to be fair, it's disturbing for me in 2 ways. It's disturbing for me in a way that people outside might think that I'm deliberately trying to throw contention into the mix in order to generate views and negativity, which is how it looks, I suppose. But it also disturbed me that might actually end up being true if I saw that that sort of video generated a lot of views and negativity. Well, maybe I might be inclined to do more like that in the future. I certainly hope not, and I hope I've got the moral fortitude to not go down that path. But yeah, it absolutely astounded me. The other thing that amazes me is how many American viewers I've got. Because you can go to YouTube and you can look down the analytics and it tells you from which countries people viewed you. More than half of my views come from the States, which is really surprising, considering most of my gaming stuff has a sort of British stroke European bent on it. All of the Stamp and Coin stuff I've done is all British stuff. So, I don't know, unless people just find that of particular interest, I've no idea why that would be. It could just be that most of the people that view YouTube are Americans, and therefore that's where most of my views have come from. But from what I understand, Canada has similar tariffs and structure, but I get very little views from Canada, if any at all. So I have no clue as to why it would particularly be people in the US that are watching the vast majority of my stuff. Just an odd thing, but I thought I'd point it out anyway. Right. The other big topic is this emulator project I'm doing now. 1, maybe 2 of the videos have come out by the point that this gets uploaded. Possibly 2, maybe more. I'm not sure, because I'm not sure in which order I'm uploading these yet. But I'll tell you now, although I will be continuing with that project when there's time to do it, because obviously there's actually quite a lot to do behind the scenes. So like on average a 30-40 minute video as uploaded is taking somewhere between 6 and 10 hours of work, and in the case of one of them, vastly more, to actually get done, get edited, and uploaded. So it's sort of one of them projects that now that I've started it, I kind of wish I hadn't. I kind of wish I hadn't really bothered. But I'm going to persevere with it as long as I can. Part of the issue, I'm sure, is me. Now, I consider myself a reasonably tech-savvy person. But some things that the combination of all these emulators and Hyperspin, it sort of works together, with, sort of via Rocket Launcher to actually try and get things knitted together and working properly. There's no... A lot of it isn't particularly logical as to what happens. So, i.e., there's a step in the process where I have to set up any particular emulator globally, then I have to set it up again manually for each individual system. Now, in an ideal world, there should just be a button where I click global settings or whatever, and it just does it. I mean, I don't understand why that's a thing, that I have to set up the same information twice in two different places. I mean, unless I'm doing something absolutely atrociously wrong, I don't understand why that's a thing. But it's one of these things. It's all these little bits and pieces that are just so irritating. You know, and for instance, a bit where I have to go into a text file to edit where I want Hyperspin to look for Rocket Launcher, but presumably couldn't they attach that to the Rocket Launcher program or something like that to just, you know, click a button? I mean, if you're going to make a graphical user interface for everything, why not for the simplest tasks? You know, the stuff that should be simple. If it obviously is simple if you know what you're looking for, but to have to scroll through lines and lines and lines of text files to edit one thing, I mean, you'd think that would be easy. But anyway, the point is, it's one of them projects that I wish I'd never taken on. But suffice to say, I will continue doing the videos as far as I can. I was really enthusiastic about doing it, but now that I'm doing it, I really wish I hadn't, sort of thing. The final issue I want to contend with, you may get to a point by the end of this video where you sort of go, well, there's not actually very much that he's shown, and you'd be absolutely right. Well, I did explain, I think, the last pickups video I did, where I was coming into a situation where I wasn't going to be able to spend an awful lot of money. Now, this, I don't want to go into any details on this one, but I've basically taken a hit of about a quarter of my income. And so that basically means, like, while I'm fine and I can still continue to pay my rent and eat and things like that, it actually means that I've got far less money to spend on my hobbies. That means, you know, less games, basically less things I can shell out for. And even stuff that I would normally shell out for without thinking, such as new limited run releases and things like that, of which there are some, spoilers, ahead in the video. I am actually checking to see what the reviews on the games are now as to whether I actually want them or not, before just going, oh, that's going to be limited, I better buy that, because, you know, if I don't buy it, I might never be able to buy it in the future. I'm sort of looking at it and going, I don't know if I can be bothered actually buying this game, because it's, you know, it's 30 quid plus 15 quid odd shipping. You know, it works out quite a lot. So that's a thing, and that is a thing that's going to continue for a little while yet, at least until probably March or April next year, as it looks like. And I know that I'm not doing it to sound like I'm really sad. I'm just explaining why either the pickup videos are going to become far smaller, or alternatively, there's going to be a longer space in between them. Is because basically it comes down to I can't really afford to buy all the games I want. Now, whether I actually get around to playing them or not is by the by. I can't afford to buy the ones that I see and go, oh, I'd like that. So that's basically that. I can't think of anything else offhand, but I'm sure if I do, I will sort of do it at the end, and then I can edit it back in, if you see, and then it all looks seamless, and it looks like I'm really clever and really thought about it. So anyway, let's get on with the pickups. Right, so I'm going to structure this thusly. I'm going to start off with the charity shop stuff. So that's usually the cheapest stuff and the best finds, but not always. I'm going to move on to the eBay finds, or the eBay stuff that I've bought, not necessarily any of it at a particularly good deal, but there you go. Then I'm going to move on to retail, and then I'm going to move on to limited run. So yeah, that's going to be the format for this. Actually, no, tell a lie. The first thing I want to start off with is a found item, because as I was tidying up and going through some boxes and things that shouldn't have had any games in them, but did, I came across another copy of Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a good game in its time, but I think this is probably the 5th copy I've come across in my collection. This obviously harks back to the days before I had any sort of audit on what I actually owned, and I think this is either number 4 or 5 that I've found. So I know, including original copy and platinum, I think 5 copies of that game I've got now. So that's an interesting quirk on my personality. I obviously thought, oh, Vice City, I like that game, I better buy it at some point, and ended up with yet another one. So anyway, charity shop pickups. Now, this is probably the best deal I've had so far. This is Ni no Kuni Strategy Guide, the hardback version, although I don't think there is a paperback version. I think there only ever was the hardback version. Now, as you can see from the cover, it's not that white, it's a bit grimy, but it might clean up a little way. And I'm sure there's some sort of poster or something that's supposed to come with it that didn't come with it, but apart from that, perfectly serviceable strategy guide. Nothing wrong with that, and that was £6 from St Clair Hospice, so there you go. Pretty good. And then I have what else came from there? Yes, I got, if I can be after finding it, Quantum of Solace for the PlayStation 3. This was £1, again from St Clair Hospice, and I've got the receipt in here. So yeah, looks pretty good. Instruction book's there, disc is there, and what can we say about that? So that's I'll do what I do on the PS3 reviews. Well, that's BLES 406. So if you're noting down those numbers, keep going. Right, what else came from charity shops? Let's start with some of the other stuff, shall we? Wii Sports Resort. Now, there were 2 versions of this. There's and bearing in mind, I only know there's 2 versions from the internet telling me. I've only ever seen this version, but there's supposedly one that comes in rather than in one of these natty wee plastic cases, there's one that comes in a cardboard case, which is very, very sought after. Now, I've never seen that one, but supposedly it does exist. But yeah, so this is the one I usually see. But not very often I see Wii Sports Resort. I've seen more than enough copies of Wii Sports and Wii Fit, but Wii Sports Resort I haven't seen very many copies of. And this was 50p, so you can't go wrong at pricing like that. Right. The next one is another PlayStation 3 game. Oh, that was 50p from Echo, which is a sort of nominally a recycling place, but they charge all for their games, but loads for their furniture and things like that. Viking Battle for Asgard. Now, I've never seen this game before, because I haven't really been looking, but it is made by Sega, so that's that can be a mark of quality, but more often than not, you don't know. So yeah, that's so again, has instruction book, has disc, and if you are collecting those numbers, BLES 242. So there you go with that one. Now, here's a couple of interesting ones. That was 50p as well from Echo. These next two are from Echo as well, and they were both 50p. So bear that in mind when I show you what they are. Now this one, Super Mario DS. Big deal, Super Mario DS is a very common game. You see it all the time. But I was very surprised to see this in my local charity shop. And I'm not happy with the fact that there's a big scratch across the front, if you can see that. I mean, somebody has literally gouged into that plastic there. You know, I don't know how that's happened. I can't even fathom it, because while the plastic has been completely gouged out, the artwork itself seems relatively fine. So I don't know why that's happened or how, but there you are. But the thing you'll notice here, if I zoom in at the camera, you'll see it's got an ESRB rating rather than a PEGI rating. That's because this is the US version. And as usual in here, as you'd expect, it's the nice... I actually prefer the US cases, by the way. I think they're a lot better than the European ones. The European ones are a lot fatter for no real reason, and they just don't look like they're like that horrible recycled clear plastic look that, you know, I just think the US ones look a bit better. But the thing is, this is very clearly the US version, but I suspect it was bought in Canada, or sorry, the North American version, but I suspect it was bought in Canada. Not because it says anything in particular on the box, but it's just that all the instructions and the health and safety booklet appear to be in French as well. So I don't know if that's a thing that's unique to all American DS games. I think this is the only one I've got, but it's just interesting. Unless they just do one print for the entirety of North America, which is, I suppose, is reasonable. But, you know, I just think you'd be wasting... If you were the guy at Nintendo that was in charge of the ink, and you said, well, we really only have to send the French ones to Canada, so why are we printing double the amount of text on every instruction book for the entire North American continent? It seems like a waste of ink to me. I don't know. It raises questions in my head that it probably shouldn't, but I can't help the fact that it does. So there you are. Super Mario DS for the DS, the North American version, 50p. And here's another one that was in the local charity shop. I suspect this was on the same day, but it might not have been. Same shop, same price, 50p. All their games are 50p. Which the current exchange rate with the dollar is about $835, I think. That's because Britain's leaving Europe, you see. So the pound is worthless. But the point is, this is another one. Japanese game, Jump All Stars. Now, or Jump Ultimate Stars, rather, I should say. Now, I've never heard of this because it didn't come out here. But what I do like is, and I'm going to cover the number in case these are still valid. I think the Japanese ones are. Japanese Club Nintendo card, which is a little paper voucher. It's not a piece of cardboard like we used to get in European DS games. It's a piece of paper. So there you are. Japanese Club Nintendo. But yeah, so that's what's in it, basically, is you've got your instruction book, you've got your Wi-Fi connection. There's no way I'm going to be able to work out what that's about. And you've got your little cartridge. And the good thing, of course, is the DS is multi-region. Now, when I say that, my proviso would be, because I have got not a 3DS. What do you call it? The DSi. The DSi is not multi-region, but I don't know if that's just for DSi games, of which there are 3. I suspect it doesn't work for DS games as well. I expect if you put a Japanese DS game in a DSi, it probably wouldn't work, because there is region coding on a DSi. On the original DS and on the DS Lite, however, there is no region coding. You can put in whatever you want from any country. Fantastic. I don't know why Nintendo ever put region coding back in on their systems. It was the worst thing they ever did. Literally the worst thing they ever did. Ever. Right, so we've done charity shops. Let's get to eBay. Alright, so first eBay pickup is this one, Akiba's Strip, or Akiba's Trip, I don't know. Undead and Undressed. Now, this is an NIS America game, which I have seen on occasion. I think it's actually... I know it says they're only on PlayStation, but I think it's actually, and somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, a Vita port. I think it came out on the Vita first. Whether it's a physical game or a download only, I think it did come out on the Vita first, but I'm not 100% certain. And yeah, it's quite good as PlayStation 4 games go, because it has an instruction manual. Do you remember them? Yeah, nice little instruction manual. I don't know what the game's about. I haven't played it. Nice little disc. Now, I bought this on eBay and it was as new. But I'll be honest with you, I think the box has seen better days. Can you see there where it's all sort of stretched out and, a bit grimy and, I mean, if I'm selling a game on eBay, I tend to, give it a little clean up, make sure it's not too grimy, and if it is a bit grimy, I tend to say, the case has seen better days or whatever. But to be fair, I only paid $12.50 for it, and that was including delivery, so I can't complain too much, and the disc looks fine. It will probably play absolutely fine. Another thing I bought on eBay, Hellfire for the Mega Drive. And I bought this basically the picture of it was this. That was it. That was the picture of it. There's no description. But it only cost me £8.40, which for a box version is probably about going rate. If it has excuse me. If it has a manual with it, which this does not. So I think I probably overpaid for this, but still, it's one that I didn't have and one I really do wanted. This is probably one of my favourite shooters on the Mega Drive, or shoot 'em ups, however you want to term it. This is probably one of my favourites. The music is fantastic. I think that's really what it is that draws me in. It's not because the gameplay is particularly good, it's the music that does it every time, especially with Mega Drive games. But I'll just quickly, the interesting quirk with this game is you can use this to test sort of what kind of, what the capabilities of your Mega Drive is. Because the way the music is done on this game is it uses, from what I'm given to understand, is it uses certain processor tricks to get the music to play along with at the same speed that it should. Now, on all the first generation and first generation looking Mega Drive, so any Mega Drive 1, it should play perfectly fine. On the first version of the Mega Drive 2, it should play perfectly fine. On later revisions of the Mega Drive 2, however, and pretty much anything that came afterwards, so that'll be later revisions of the Mega Drive 2, that'll be your Multi-Mega or CDX if you live in the States, and also if you live in North America, it will be the Mega Drive 3. This game, the music is awful on that game and doesn't play at the correct speed because of the hardware revisions, the processor, the way that the sound chip interacts with the processor is completely different on revised motherboards, and this is the game that people normally test with. Supposedly. I've never done it myself, but like I say, it's an interesting fact about this game. Because of the way it's actually programmed, the music will change depending on what Mega Drive mainboard you've got. which in of itself is quite interesting, I think, even if you didn't like the game. It'd be quite good as a test cartridge to make sure everything's working tickety-boo. Right. Now, sorry, how much did I say I paid for that? £8.40. Right. The biggest eBay pickup, by far, the biggest eBay pickup I've done is this one that I'm about to show you. Now, I paid £68 for this lot, which is probably about going rate, but I'm still quite happy with it, and I'll just show you what I got for my £68. I got a silver DS Lite. Not particularly interesting, but the little flap is here, the cartridge flap is here, the stylus is here, there's also a charger that is not pictured, but it did come with one, not an official one, mind, it was a third-party charger, but reasonably good nick, couple of scratches down at the corner, but works perfectly well, charges fine, battery holds a charge, all the good stuff you'd expect. A couple of loose games as well that came with it. Aladdin for the what do you call it? Game Boy Advance, and again, ESRB logo. A lot of people with US games or North American games rather. Buster Move DS. Loose, and Big Brain Academy loose, again ESRB rating on that, so the US version, plus all these games here. So I'll just quickly go through them. Most of these have their instruction books and all the gubbins that they should and things like that. Right, so Imagine Teacher, bit nothing, isn't it? The Legend of Spyro, Dawn of a Dragon. The Sims 3. The Sims 2. Crash of the Titans. Crash Bandicoot game there for the DS. Sherlock Holmes and the Mystery Mummy. Is that right? The Mystery of the Mummy, sorry. James Patterson Women's Murder Club. So whoever had this before was dead into mystery games. Arthur and the Invisibles, the game. Now, this is one that I've never seen before, and I suspect, again, see the ESRB rating, I suspect it didn't come out here. Because I've never seen this game before, and I've never seen... presumably it comes from some sort of television show, but I've never seen it. I don't know if it exists here. But there you go. So that's a new one on me. Another US game to add to my collection. Zelda Phantom Hourglass. Now this is one that at some point has been through a pre-owned program, as you can see. And there's a bit of damage to the plastic on the box, but it is only the plastic. But everything's here, instruction book and bits and bobs and all the rest of it, all the stuff that you'd expect. Cooking guide, I don't know how useful that is. Zoo Tycoon DS, Sims 2 Castaway, Hysteria Hospital, Theme Park, just Theme Park, not Theme Park DS, just Theme Park. There you are, all one thing. Build a Lot, Become a Property Tycoon. Again, looks like it's been through some sort of pre-owned program at some point in the past. And these are the ones that I was really interested in. And the Zelda one. I like the Zelda one, but mostly these. Professor Layton and the Curious Village. Professor Layton, A Spectre's Call. Professor Layton, Pandora's Box. And Professor Layton and the Lost Future. Now, I love the Layton games. I don't think I've ever finished one, but I do love them. And then finally, Crime Scene. Not CSI, just Crime Scene. Yeah. But yeah, all of that, £68. And that was including delivery. So I was absolutely chuffed with that. You can't go wrong there. £68 including delivery for all that gubbins. I think I've done rather well. Right, so on to retail. Not much to show here. First off, I bought one of these, which is it's not an official Microsoft product, it's the PowerA version, so it's a slightly cheaper version of a wired Xbox One controller. And what this was basically, I went in, I wanted to buy, I have one of the PowerA, what the hell was that? I have one of the PowerA Xbox One controllers anyway. I have the white one, the standard one that they do. And then I went into Sainsbury's and this one was the same price as the standard one. So I thought, well, I'll buy it and I'll give it a try. Now, good points to this controller. It does change colour. Bad points is you have to do it manually. There's not like some sort of app you could set up where it would maybe change colour with each game, or change colour, I don't know, like cycle through or something like that, or maybe to music or something, I don't know, but it basically there's buttons on it that you have to change the colour yourself. How irritating. The second thing is, it doesn't appear to be as well made as the other one that I bought. The analog sticks are a bit flimsier, and I think that's to make room for all the colour changing nonsense, because they're sort of transparency analog sticks. It just doesn't appear to be as well made as the original one. So I would say if it comes down to them both being the same price, I would buy another original one. It's not that I regret buying this one, because it's okay for what it does. It's just not, I don't feel it's as, when you're using it, that it's as well built as the other one that I bought, the one that I showed last pickups video, or maybe the one before. Go and have a look and you'll see what I mean. But anyway, that was $29.99. Like I say, it's not overly expensive considering an official Xbox One controller costs, 50 quid now? I mean, they're quite expensive. A wired one, I don't know. I don't know if they do official wired ones, so I buy the PowerA ones. Not because I have an Xbox One, but because they work on a Windows 10 PC absolutely fine. So the second thing that I bought at retail is probably going to be obvious to anyone what it is. It's, of course, the Super Nintendo Classic Mini. Now, I must be the only person on YouTube that didn't show this off the day of purchase, didn't do an unboxing video, hasn't opened it and put 300 extra games on it, because I haven't done any of that. In fact, I haven't even opened it because I've been so busy fiddling around with emulators that I sort of have really been spending most of my time doing that. Which is, of course, what this is. This is an emulator, albeit built by Nintendo. And I'm quite glad I've bought it, but I did have to pay 80 quid for it. And bearing in mind I only paid 68 quid for all them DS games I just showed you, and a DS to play it on, spending 80 quid on one of these seems like an awful lot of money. That's my only quibble, is how much it actually cost. But bearing in mind the games you get, I suppose you could argue either way. I'm happy I've got it, but I wish I'd got it for a little bit cheaper. Although, again, the argument would be it comes with the two controllers, it comes with all the games pre-installed. Well, actually it doesn't. You can't play... this is a thing, and in fact it does sort of mention it here. You can't just turn it on and play Star Fox 2. You have to unlock Star Fox 2 by playing Star Fox, which, and I don't want to make any enemies here. Star Fox is possibly the most boring game on the Super Nintendo. Prove me wrong. It is so dull. Don't get me wrong, I like the concept of Star Fox, I like the music. The music's, for me, is the best bit, especially at first level, the emergency, and then do. We're all flying to... But honestly, it is dishwater, that game. yeah. But anyway, it doesn't matter because I'm probably not even going to get around to playing the bloody thing this year. So, and in fact, truth be told, my PlayStation VR hat is still in the box. That's how much time I actually have to use any of this stuff that I keep buying. I might cut that out because, like I said, if you watched the beginning of this video about the flack that I've got about having the audacity to mention that there might not be an N64 Mini, I certainly don't need that little rant about the Super Nintendo Classic getting out online. Or I might just leave it in because, like I say, as it turns out, people watch things, it seems, to get offended. Even when the point you've made is actually the title of the video. You know, people say, do you know what? I'm not going to bang on about it. Right, now we're on the main line of the pickups and we're heading towards the finish line. And this is all going to be, I think it's all limited run stuff from this point in. Now, I can't give you the prices on all of that I paid for all of this stuff, for the simple reason that some of it I ordered months ago, because some of it takes a while to turn up and some of it is pre-order. So some of it I ordered months ago and it's taken a while to turn up. In fact, one item I ordered over a year ago and it's only just turned up, 3 days ago. So, you know, that shows you that this... I'm not sure this system's working for me, I'll be honest with you. But some of the things I've bought and paid for months ago, so I can't tell you exactly how much I paid for them, but they're all going to be roughly about the same unless they're a special edition or something. So, let's start. I'll start with the smaller games first. I'll just start as I mean to go on. As Divine Hearts, which is a game, some sort of RPG. Yeah, and as usual, it comes with... Actually, this came with extra stuff because it came boxed up with loads of other stuff that I have to put away at some point. So, as Divine Hearts, and as usual, it comes with a card. It comes with a little number thing that I can't use. What else does it come with? I don't think they come with postcards anymore. And they come with a one-page folding thing that says, you know, be careful if you have epilepsy, which somehow they class as a manual. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. It seems to me like one folded piece of paper. Anyway, and that was. Do I have a price for that? As Divine Hearts. Yes. Well, no, I don't, because I bought that as part of what they called the Friday Fantasy Bundle, which came at £92.42. I'll show you later on what else was in that bundle, because that's coming at the end. Yeah. So, Jotun Valhalla Edition, which I don't have a price for. It must be one that I bought a while ago. And again, what's annoyed me about this is it actually arrived broken. Not broken as in irreparable broken, but the case was broken. Now, when I opened the box, like the way they do it is they sort of put it in and then stuff packing paper, like brown paper, around it to hopefully cushion it. But when it arrived, the thing was down at one end of the box and the packing paper hadn't stayed in. So that's why there's a big smash on the corner. But that doesn't explain why the disc press thing is missing, because that shouldn't, I would hope that shouldn't really affect that. But the disc isn't scratched, so hopefully it'll play fine. I just need to get a new case for it at some point. Drive is a game, and again I can't tell you most of what these games are about because I've absolutely no idea. And again, it comes with its card, it comes with a thing. This one comes with a postcard as well and a one-page manual about nothing. So, you know, stop putting them in if they haven't got anything written on them, as far as I'm concerned. So I can't tell you how much that was either. That must have been one from a while back. Night Trap! Yeah! I honestly don't really know why I bought this. Again, this is one of these ones where you looked at it and went, well, I know that game. I definitely don't want the special edition because it comes with an audio tape. I don't even have a tape player anymore. So I don't know what I would see in having the special edition, but I thought if I don't buy it, I will never be able to. And even though I know the game is... this is part of the issue that I have with Limited Run. I'm all for them releasing these indie games that are good enough to get a physical release. Stuff like this, even though I bought it, I'm not happy about owning it. Because I know it's rubbish. And I just think this is one that perhaps should have stayed a digital release. Now, don't get me wrong, I mean, some people absolutely love this game. I have no idea why. Some people absolutely love it. And I think something like Five Nights at Freddy's has taken the concept of this game to a whole new level, and I would say probably a better level. We don't really need this anymore. But there you are, Night Trap. I own it. And I'll probably never play it because I know... actually, I have to bleep that out, don't I? Because... you know, then I won't be able to monetize this content, which is annoying. Neurovoider. Now, this is one that looks interesting. This is, and this is, well, it actually says here, a twin-stick shooter RPG. So I imagine a twin-stick shooter, Smash TV, is what I'm thinking. And I'm pretty sure it is sort of like that. So again, you get your little folder, you get your cards, you get your thing. All these are going to have pretty much the same stuff in them. The Bunker. Now, this is apparently another FMV game. I'm hoping it's better than Night Trap. In 2020, when I get round to playing it, I will be able to tell you if it is. Lily Limited Edition. Now, there was a standard edition of this and a limited edition. And as near as I can figure, the only difference between... And please, somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But if you look in here, I've got my CD, I've got my little number thing, I've got my card, and I've got an instruction manual. Okay, fair enough. As near as I can tell, the standard edition came with that. But what makes this a limited edition, aside from, of course, the snazzy limited edition cover, is I've got this piece of cardboard to keep it in, look. So that the cover, if the game doesn't fall out the bottom, so that the cover doesn't get scratched. If I just fancy scratching my games up for a bit, I can do it on the cardboard rather than on the cover. Now, I hope I'm not being overly cynical, but to me, a piece of cardboard is not a limited edition. Again, I think with some of these releases, Limited Run is beginning to take the... It's just my opinion. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, a piece of cardboard, not really a limited edition, is it? It's like the sort of people that think a steelbook is limited edition. You're wrong. And in fact, when it comes to games like, say, Lightning Returns or something like that, the steelbook is actually more common than the normal one. So, anyway... N++. I've absolutely no idea what this is. This is a... Whoops. Whatever it is, it's on the floor. There we go. Well, don't know why that fell out like that. Doesn't seem to be getting held that snugly. But this is one that's actually quite good because, although I have no idea what this game is, it does actually have a proper manual and a poster. See, that is how you do a limited run game. You give us a box, you give us a disc. I don't know what the game is, I don't care. But the fact that it's got a full book and a poster, that's a proper game. Doesn't even matter what the game's about. If it's got that, there you go. And that doesn't have limited editions scrawled all over it for no particular reason. Anyway, sorry, I can't give you a price for that one either. Chariot. Again, I'm not going to try and pretend I know what any of these games are about, because I don't. But again, we've got our one-page safety booklet. Absolute Drift, which I imagine is a game about drift racing. One-page safety booklet, little collectible supposedly card, and game disc. Whoop. I actually can tell you how much that was. That was $25.25. Absolute Zen. Oh, and Chariot was $25.24. That's fluctuating exchange rates. Give you that. Right, The Flame in the Flood. Is that on my list for the last couple of months? No, so I can't tell you how much I paid for that either, but probably about 26 quid, let's say. Wilderness survival game in which a girl and her dog travel on foot and by raft down a procedurally generated river. So it's like Minecraft with rapids. Again, one-page book and disc. Now, this is one I did actually want. This game came out for the PlayStation 3 in Japan. Came out for the Vita in Japan, I believe. And came out also in Asian regions as well as Japan. So there's Japan and there's Asia. It came out in both of them territories. Maybe Australia as well, I'm not too sure. But unlikely. And it also came out on PS4 in Japan as a proper release. But this is the limited run version. And it's, how do you pronounce that? Caladrius Blaze. And yeah, so it's a shooting game, basically. But again, this is a weighty item. Why is it a weighty item? Ah, it's got an instruction book. Yeah, like a game should. Yeah, nice little disc, instruction book, art card thing. You know, let's just... actually, this has got 2 instruction books. No, it doesn't. It's got 1 instruction book and 1 little sort of character bio book there, if you look. But this is what you want. This is what I want from my limited run games. This is why you do a physical edition. You know, why do a physical edition of a game and then not put any physical things in the case? You can just, what you can do is you can wrap it in cardboard, write limited edition all across the front in marker pen, and then sell it to people at an inflated price. Right, phew. I'm going to go through these last 4 games, just imagine that I've spent an awful lot of money on something that I'm not sure I'm going to be particularly happy with. And imagine I've done that 3 times, and then the 4th game I'm going to show you I probably will be quite happy with because I know exactly what it contains. But 3 of them I haven't opened, so let's just go through them now. I will start with Ys Origin. Now, this is the collector's edition, which was part of that Fantasy Friday bundle that came with As Divine Hearts for £92.42. And I haven't opened this yet, so I have no clue what's in it. So we're going to open it together and see exactly what I got for my, I'm guessing, 3/4 of £92.42. Right, so that's the plastic off. Now, how do we open it without ripping it to pieces? Possibly not that way, but there we go. Oh, there we are. Does this come out, or is it welded in there? No, it does come out. There we are. So we've got a little box here that our box comes in. So that's the game itself. I'm assuming it's just a game in there. I need to get to the point where I'm actually thinking to bring scissors here to open stuff, but there you go. Right, so let's open the game itself and see what we get in the actual game box. So this is better than a pickups, because this isn't just a pickups. No, this is an unboxing. Right. So we have one page. I don't know if I'd call that like a mini poster, but I guess it is. Reversible cover, if you look. Game disc, which smells fresh. And then in the box under here, we have a bigger version of a poster and a book, which is sort of an art book. Yeah. So if we say that that was 2/3 of the £92, what are we talking here? £60 and 50 pence ish. Not sure it's worth that, but you know, an East game is bound to be, well, it's bound to be worth more than a not an East game, really, isn't it? I mean, East is very popular. Not my favourite RPG franchise, but there hasn't been one in a long time. Or I think there was one on the PlayStation 3 or something, but it wasn't very good. So yeah, this is back to its roots, East or Wise. I'm going to call it Wise because I don't upset someone. It's not called Wise, it's called East, like fleece. It's called Wise. Look, Wise. It's like when people write ye. And people say, oh, it's not really pronounced like that. Yes, it is. It's spelt ye. So I'm going to say it's ye. Anyway. Actually, I'm not going to do this one next. I'm going to do this one next. Lawbreakers Collector's Edition. Now, obviously I bought and paid for this possibly 3 months ago, or soon after E3 when the game came out. So whenever that was. We're talking perhaps August. No, the trouble is, I'm not certain anyone... this is a mostly online game from what I'm given to understand. I'm not sure anyone's still playing it. Which means owning a physical copy, even at the moment, a couple of months after it come out, might be pretty useless, and probably in 4 or 5 years' time is going to be next to absolutely pointless. Because if I put this disc in my PlayStation in 4 years' time, nothing will happen. It will install a game that I can't play because I will just spend an hour waiting in a lobby for somebody else to join. I'm hoping that's not the situation, but it does appear that that is the situation. So I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get this one open too, if I can find it. Yeah, there's a little bit here. Just to show you what you get, because bearing in mind that this game is already nearly useless. This is just based on what I'm given to understand. I don't know that any of this is fact, but this is what I'm given to understand. So we may as well see what's physically in here, because in a year's time that's going to be all that's left, is what is physically in this box. Oh, bloody hell. They should try and make these things a little bit easier to open without ripping them to shreds. Ah, right. So I'm guessing this is this is a similar vein to the East, but in fact it's almost the same box. Oh, what have we got here? Right, so we've got the game. Let me get it out of its little cardboard insert and open that as well, so we can see what's in it. Right. Bloody hell. I'm trying to stop something from escaping it. It's like the Alcatraz of games. Yeah, predictably, we've got the little meh, you know, see health and safety warnings, blah, blah, blah. And we've got a disc. That's pretty much all. Not even a reversible cover for this one. No. So that's all we've got, basically, is a disc and a little nothing. We've got what appear to be some sort of collectible cards, which I'm not going to open. We've got a postcard. We've got a sticker. We've got some more stickers. And we've got a... Well, I thought this was, for a moment, I thought this was a particularly well done instruction manual. But what it actually is a notebook. Right. So yeah, like I say, bear in mind that this game, if the internet is to be believed, which of course it always is, because the internet is always definitely right and spot on about everything, this game, to be played as a game, is next to useless. Given the physical stuff that's in here, notebooks are useful, aren't they? I mean, you know, that's something. But no, I don't know what to do about that. I'm seriously considering being very disappointed. But ho-hum, you know, if I hadn't bought it, I wouldn't know, would I? No, this is one I was looking forward to. And it's Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap. Not my favourite Master System series. See, I quite like Alex the Kid. Or Alex Kidd, or however you say it. Apart from the boss battles, I quite like Alex Kidd. Wonder Boy, not sure. I actually think the Disney games are some of the best ones on the Master System, truth be told. You know, Lucky Dime and Castle of Illusion. And I can't get this button open. Right, aha. Yeah, I do need to really seriously think about bringing scissors. And then running with them. Now, I'm imagining from the shape of this, internally it's going to have a similar structure to them. So let's see, shall we? Am I going to be disappointed or appointed? That's not too bad. See, that's slightly different. So we start off with an original soundtrack. So that's good. I mean, a soundtrack, alright, I don't have a CD player. So, well, I suppose I've got one in the PC. But soundtracks are pretty much useless to me because I don't have a standalone CD player. Who does these days, really? But it's better than nothing. It's better than we got with them. CD beats poster every time. These are the rules. The rules that I'm making up on the fly, but rules nonetheless. We have a physical copy of Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap, which I'm going to open to see what's in it. Oh, right. I'm getting quite a mountain of plastic here. Oh! No, this is good. Look. Look at this. Look. That's fantastic. I like that. It takes after the original Master System. I suppose it's actually better drawn than the Master System one. Oh! Oh! Look. Right, okay. So, you've got new cover. You've got reversible old cover, what looks like a Master System game. Brilliant. See, it's touches like that that make it worth doing a physical edition. So that's what's in the case here. What else do we have under the skin? Some cards or something. I don't really know what that is. and a poster. So CD and poster. That's better. That's more like it. So I'll just carefully start packing all this away. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Again, it's probably, if I'm honest, I probably will never ever get round to playing it, but I'm happy I've got it, unlike the other things that I had there, which I'm not overly fussed one way or the other. So let's put that away. So Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap there, and again, I wish I could tell you how much I paid for that, but I haven't got it on this list. Might have been a while ago. No, one that was a while ago, and in fact I think was October last year I actually bought and paid for this, and they finally got round to releasing it, but in Limited Run's defence, that wasn't their fault. There was an issue with the physical edition when they were trying to get licensing for the Japanese voices on the game. That meant they had to delay the release. And it is Skullgirls Second Encore. Now, this is a beat-em-up game, which is done in a really fantastic style. Now, again, big, massive art book manual thing. So brilliant. Sticker, postcard, collectible card thing, reversible cover, lovely shiny disc. Oh, and look! It's got a cardboard cover what goes around the thing. But this time, it's not a limited edition cardboard cover. It's just a normal cardboard cover. So you wouldn't even know that this was like some sort of limited edition version of the game. Which is good, because it looks to normal people like it's just a normal game. But yeah. But what also came with it, not bundled in any fancy box or anything, but actually came with it in the box, is a soundtrack. And again, like I've said, I like soundtracks, but I don't have a CD player, so there you go. But I have been waiting for this for a year, because I think this game is fantastic. And this is one that I do know what it's about, and I have seen it, and yeah, it's all done in like a, I don't know, I suppose it's like a sort of 20s, 30s style, like beat-em-up game, but with sort of occult elements thrown in, which it's done in a really good way. And there was for a time in the original release an extra character which I don't think has been able to be put into this release, and I can't remember what that was about. I think they had an extra character that somebody won a contest to put a character in the game, and then because they decided for one reason or another they didn't want the character being used, they had to take it out, and they couldn't put that onto this release, unfortunately. And they've since updated the game to patch that extra character out, which is unfortunate. But apart from that, this is the comprehensive version. This has all the characters, all the voices, everything that's ever been sort of downloadably released as an update to the game is in here. So there you go. That is probably the thing that I'm most happy with getting. And that... No, it doesn't quite bring us to the end of the pickups, because I want to mention 2 pre-orders that I've managed to do, so that when they come up in another video, and I don't have the price sitting here, I can tell you what they are. One of them is from Amazon, that comes out in January. That's Axiom Verge Multiverse Edition. I bought the PS4 version. Now, this was supposed to be a Wii U game at one point. This was supposedly going to be the last physical release for the Wii U. I don't know if that is the case in any territory in the world, but I'm given to understand that in Europe that is no longer going to be the case. Axiom Verge is only going to be available on PlayStation 4, as physical release this is, on PlayStation 4, on the Nintendo Switch, and on the Xbox One. And PC, I think, has a physical release as well, but that doesn't count. Anyway, so I've pre-ordered it for the PlayStation 4, because I don't have a Switch. I would have pre-ordered it for the Wii U, did it exist, but it doesn't anymore, so there you go. And that was $24.99 I've paid for my pre-order. The next pre-order I have done is with limited run, and that is for a game called Nex Machina, which looked pretty good. So again, I have actually researched what the game should be about, so I decided to pay for that, and that came out at $35.41. That's including the delivery it will be when it finally gets here. But that is actually a pre-order that has not been sent yet. It hasn't been produced yet. It will be produced some point before the end of the year. So that's it. That's the last two things I wanted to mention. Now, as it seems I've banged on for quite a long time, I will probably try and end this video a bit quicker than usual. So all I will do is just say that there should be some other videos that have turned up here. Go and watch them. They're probably really great. There's a subscribe button that should have turned up here, and as usual, you can always leave a comment. You can contact me on Twitter, which more people should do, by the way. You know, it's really nice. And that's been the end of my pickups. The next one will probably be the beginning of next year, and I will see you in another video.